We're going to do a crazy show today. It's going to be awesome. Get to your phone lines, 855-878-4652. That's the number to dial, 855-878-4652. Follow me on Twitter at Zoe Williams right now. I will read off your responses. All right? Let everybody know what's going on about this topic. It's going to be crazy. But what is common for us, we like to support black businesses. I'm wearing elephant today. What does elephant live? What does elephant mean? Man, it's really dope, man. I mean, check out these guys' website. ElephantNYC.com. Elephant is LFANT NYC.com. And as you can see, 50% off. They got a sale going on. If you love Polo, right? J. Crew, Banana Republic, they stuff is real fly. I'm wearing one of their gingham, button downs right now. Very nice stuff, man. A lot of celebrities wear their stuff. I mean, they just did a television show starring Run's daughter, and they were doing a television show, and they actually clothed the entire cast and people in front of the camera. It was a really, really dope look for them. This company, man, is so dope and so fresh and so innovative. I want you to cash mob them. We talk about black businesses being cash mobbed by black consumers. I want you to cash mob them right now, just to show our power. Just to show that if we sow the seeds into into our own black community, then we can then begin to take responsibility for what happens in that community. But if we don't have a business foothold, how are we going to have a political foothold? How are we going to have any type of moral foothold where we can say and do what we want to do in terms of policing our own community? It all starts with the recycling of black dollars. Elephant is a company I endorse, and I want you to support wholeheartedly. That's number one. We got somebody on the line right now. She's the director and producer of a movie called Circles. What comes around goes around. Her name is Trisha Woodgett of Third Eye Films. Trisha, you're on the line right now. You've got 2 minutes to tell us why this movie is important, especially during AIDS Awareness Month.
Well, thank you for the introduction. Circles is a movie about, it's a drama set in the urban area in Dallas, Texas, and it's about young adults living life, doing whatever they want to do, and not thinking about the consequences of the spread of HIV. So everything comes back in a full circle, and their link is HIV.
Wow. Really quickly, where are they going to get this film right now? If I tell this audience to cash mob you right now, meaning go support, go spend your money, support, get this movie, watch it, send it to whoever you think needs to see it. If I tell them to cash mob you, where do they go to get it?
Circles is currently available on DVD at www.tigereyefilm.co. So that's TIGEREYEFILMS.co. And it will be available for streaming within the next 2 months on my-filmcloud.com.
You know what? I really appreciate you taking the time to call us. Thank you so much. Trisha, we're going to have everybody support you right now. I got the film in my hand. Please go out and find this movie. It's called Circles. What goes around comes around. It's a story about betrayal, about denial, about HIV and the black community. You got to get this film right now. Done deal. Thank you for calling. Now, we've got Veronica Conway on the phone, too. Veronica, holla at me.
Yes, sir. So you talk about a business foothold. That's what we do around here. So as you know, Zoe, we did Wanted Entrepreneur Boot Camp in November. You were a part of that boot camp, right? That virtual business building boot camp.
Righteous.
And so I just got a call the other day from one of the brothers that was in that boot camp. And, I told him in November to write a letter of resignation to his 6-figure job.
Wow.
And to date it but not send it.
Uh-huh.
And so he wrote it, and he just called me, and he's going to be leaving his 6-figure job this month on the date that he dated it for.
Wow.
So this brother, in 8 weeks, replaced his 6-figure salary with what he learned in the boot camp. Now, he didn't have the money for the boot camp when he contacted me. He found the money for the boot camp because we always find money for what's most important. So we're going to be launching another boot camp in February. I've got just a few slots left. And so for those of you that were on the fence or that were pussyfooting around, I mean, we're going to talk about real pussyfooting a little later. But if you want to talk about growing a, 5-figure, 6-figure business in a couple of months, in weeks, not years, then you need to email me and we need to have a conversation about this boot camp. You can email me at veronicaconway.com. Now, you have to have a business, and you got to be ready to show up if we talk. But if you're ready to have a real business making real money, then email me.
And I'm going to tell you, Veronica is no joke. I don't let a lot of people, willy-nilly ass people don't get to come into my circle. Veronica is not willy-nilly. She's about that life. She's up-leveled my participation in business. I was a little lax until I met her. She's a coach of coaches. So she's a cold piece of work. And I'm the type of person where I want to, put people that I look up to in front of you so you can look up to them too. She's incredible. Thanks, Veronica. We're going to get into the conversation a little bit later. Yo, Dr. G has a hard copy. But Dr. G's, just listen, this is the soft copy that's coming out. He said in I think February or March or sometime like that. This book has sold over 100,000 copies. Just listen. This hard copy is going to become a collector's item. You better get it now before it goes out of print. This is the soft copy that's coming out in a couple of weeks or so. Just Listen by Mark Goulston. Get Out of Your Own Way is another great book by Dr. Mark Goulston and Philip Goldberg. Please support Dr. G. Also, Real Men Have Never Played Around, especially in this book, Real Men Don't Play, written by Bobby Glanton-Smith. Please continue to support Bobby G and his movement. Bobby G is a cold brother. This is the manual for manhood. Get the book right now at realmendon'tplay.com. Also, email me, zowhatorders@gmail.com for a free strategy session for personal life coaching. Also, my new book is getting ready to come out. It's coming out real soon, The Relationship Dismount, an incredible book about how to break up effectively, how to stick the landing when leaving a difficult or traumatic relationship. Sticking the landing means walking away from a relationship without the relationship debris that comes from the past, without reliving. Because every time you leave a relationship or you don't stick the landing properly, you carry all that relationship debris or baggage into the next relationship, which automatically turns that new experience into a rebound relationship. This book is cold-blooded when I tell you, and it's coming. So anybody who needs any kind of relationship counseling or relationship coaching, please get at me at zowhatorders@gmail.com. Like I said, I'm a relationship expert, and we're going to have a great time helping you do that if you reach out to me now. Also, go to cdbaby.com and purchase the God Class Volume 1, cdbaby.com. Get the God Class Volume 1. It's a lecture I did. It's a meditative experience. It's incredible. It's music. It's chants and om in the background. And it really just clears your mind about all of the about the religious debris that you've picked up culturally. It's a dope CD. I urge you to get it right now. I think I've promoted everything. Again, Elephant. You got to go there. You got to support. When I come back, guests, topics, it's about to get nuts up in here. Woo! The So What Morning Show in the building. Holla at you in a minute.
Traumatic stress, high blood pressure, a prescription for medical marijuana. Who wears the pants? I wear the pants.
I wear the pants.
You wear the pants?
We both wear the pants equally.
Okay, he wears the pants.
We're here today to do it's a tag going around YouTube. I think we're going to do a 50 facts, but I think that's too long for us. We're just going to go ahead and do like 20 facts. What?
20 facts, so that's 40.
No, I was saying like 20 facts split. So it's 10 facts.
No. Let's just do 20 facts.
Okay.
Fuck you! I'm telling you, man. What is he answering me for? You better quit touching me. Quit touching me. You better quit touching me. You mad because I told you
You mad, bitch, because I took somebody else because your bitch ass wasn't available. I don't give a fuck. I told you, bitch, and you wasn't there, so shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
You my goddamn debit card. You my fucking debit card.
Slamming my shit.
Give me my motherfucking debit card.
Shut the fuck up.
Give me my goddamn debit card. Glenn, give me my motherfucking debit card. Stupid bitch. $30 for that shit.
You better stop getting her shit.
Bitch, I said $31
Be submissive. More women will submit. I don't care what race she is, especially in America. They don't. Okay? What is wrong with your black men in this country with the whole submit thing? This is ridiculous. What? Because so far I hear a lot of other race men say they don't care about no submit. And that's true. Most men that date black women into a racial relationship know that we're not going to submit to them. And they're fine with it. So I don't understand why your black men have a whole submit thing. What is that about? You're the one who keep messing up the community. You understand? Who are the pins in the relationship?
Who do you think?
He wear the pants in the relationship. He does. I wear the skirt. I wear him wear the pants. I don't know why any girls, some girls do want to be, the boss or want to be, wear pants in a relationship.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poor care of yourself. If you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind. Cool. Now, before I start, we missed something in community empowerment. We missed Hassan's Wee Juice, and I tell you, I have this every time I'm here, and without this, I would fall asleep, given the energy on this show and given my position on the show. Oh, yeah. So go out and check out Wee Juice, and it'll help you be as funny and smart as all of us are. Anyway, today's show is about, we're going to be talking about the receptive woman. This is about women who, instead of pushing back, are receptive to you. But this is what I would say to those receptive women. What I would say is, whether you're a woman or you're a man, do not get involved with someone who is unable to stop talking about themselves, who interrupts you every time you talk about anything else, and who never asks you about yourself. So you can be a receptive woman, but don't be an idiot. And be a good listener as opposed to a blabber, but make sure they're interested in you, and especially if you've given them a big dollop of interest into them and you're looking up to them, the least they can do is ask you a question about yourself.
Wow. And the setup is complete. 855-878-4652. We have an incredible topic. The Dao of Submission. Somebody said, what is Dao? It's Chinese for way, path, the way or the path, or, the way of submission. An in-depth look at the innate power, or lack thereof, of the receptive woman. As is commonplace, I like to start with questions before I introduce my august panel. Are women of other cultures more submissive / receptive than the American woman of all races? American Indians, American Negro, American Whitey, American Asians. Are American-bred women just simply less receptive than all other cultures and ethnicities? Let's talk about it. How does the social and ideological concepts of Christianity and feminism reconcile the submission of women to their husbands? Do those concepts get in the way and conflict each other? Christianity tells you humble out. Islam tells you to humble out. I'm talking about the women. Women, be submissive to your man. That's how God made it. But then femininity or feminism comes into play and goes, men are disposable. You ain't got to humble out to him. You smarter than him. You got a higher educational degree. You make more money. There's no reason you're supposed to humble out to him. Somebody speak to us.
I got to add one question.
Hey, these questions are not done, Dr. G. You're not going to show your white privilege here. No, go ahead. What's your question? Go ahead. Stop it, Jeff.
Does the receptivity of women always change when they go from a girlfriend to a wife to a mom? Because I think when they become a mom, a funny husband becomes silly and a waste of her time because she wants to get stuff done, and he doesn't know what hit him.
Wow.
And so is there something where, the woman becomes a mom and she's in this love affair, still paying attention to the guy as long as the baby's inside her. And then when the baby comes out, instead of getting all that love from the baby, she has to totally focus on the baby, and she can't tolerate her man acting like a baby.
Ooh, 855-878-4652 is the number to dial. Can men also surrender to their women? And is that the same as being submissive?
Only if you're a Jewish guy like me. Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus, here we go. Jews don't submit to nothing.
Except the women.
How does bitterness and rigid unforgiveness lead to the chronically unreceptive woman? Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Is the act of feminine submission to masculinity an affront to feminine independence? Y'all got to answer these questions. 855-878-4652. I want to know what you think. Tweet me right now at Zoe Williams. I will respond to all of it. What is the difference between dogmatic, cultural, religious, feminine submission / surrender to masculinity versus internally self-guided feminine submission? I'm submitting to you because Allah told me to, but really I don't want to. Versus I have found an internal power within myself that makes me even stronger when I am receptive and submissive. This is going to be a crazy show today. God damn it. Hey, who wants to answer that? We got guests on the show. Let me tell you who's on the show right now. We got Bobby Glanton-Smith, OG Bobby, Uncle Bobby. We got Dr. Mark Goulston, author of Just Listen. We got Geoff Brown, comedian extraordinaire. And also we got heavy hitters in the building. My homeboy on Skype, Nityama, is back in the building.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody know who Nityama is. He about to take off from the free throw line with the spiritual, I call him the spiritual compass. He about to hit us upside the dome. Who else we have? Oh, Sister Angela Freeman from last week's show.
Oh, she was great.
She was awesome, and she's back in the building. Let me open the door. Nityama.
Yes.
What is the difference between the submissive woman and the receptive woman? Are they the same? What is the problem with sisters today, or women today in general? Can they be submissive, and what is the real major blockage that keeps them from being submissive?
Well, first of all, there are deep things that need to be understood about the whole concept. First is if you look at the man and the woman, and if you see the man as the conscious mind and the woman as the subconscious mind, the conscious mind is always setting the parameters for the functioning of the subconscious.
Go deeper, please.
So what I mean when I say that is that if I create with my conscious mind an idea that I render to my subconscious, the role that it plays is bringing that thought or that idea to manifestation.
So you telling me the sister really is the fuel for manifestation from the subconscious level?
The earth.
Exactly. And she's also that function within the community. Because anything that you give to your subconscious, the subconscious holds on to it. So therefore, the same goes on in the community. You give something to the woman, she holds on to it. She becomes the keeper of the law. So she passes it on to the children so that it endures.
Wow, wow. Angela.
But if she is filled with Oprah and all kinds of other insanity from the outer world, then she's going to pass that on to your children because she has nothing else to pass on.
Can you talk about the parameters? Because if a man gives you parameters that are purely self-serving and all about his ego, that's different than parameters like, we can get our act together and we can turn ourselves from victims to triumphant.
Okay. Here's the deal. First of all, a woman should never follow an idiot anywhere.
Ooh.
Not even to the grocery store.
She should leave him in the grocery store. Yeah.
Wow.
So women have got to create a higher standard for what they are willing to give birth to.
That's what you say.
Yes.
Because whatever a man brings to her and she lays down and have sex with him, she's going to end up giving birth to that energy, whether it's insane or whether it is highly conscious.
Wow.
And then most men, 3 or 4 days after they've laid down with the woman comes back to them with insanity, and he never recognizes his offspring.
Wow.
So whatever you bring to a woman, she's gonna take it and multiply it 1,000-fold and give it back to you.
Man, oh man, of Shevitz.
So therefore, you need to be very conscious about what you lay down and impregnate a woman with, energetically speaking, not just children.
Wow.
You need to be clear about what you're bringing to her when you come to her sexually. Because 3 or 4 days, she's going to work on it and bring it back to you multiplied.
Wow. So, Nityama, let me do this. Let me get Angela in. Because I need that counterbalance of feminine energy on this topic too. Angela,
go for it.
Have you been listening to what's been said thus far?
I have caught the last few minutes, yes.
I would love to get your ideation on what you think about what was just said.
I agree. With a major part of what he said. Men a lot of times will. Their role in the community, whatever trends they set, a lot of times women will follow. But there's also a flip side to that, in that when women raise our standards, men will follow. So it's a very complementary kind of relationship that we have. I think a lot of times when we talk about submission, the reason why it strikes people as so wrong is because in this society, it's given to us as the man is greater than, the woman is less than. And so we view it in that kind of way instead of, okay, we are complements. This is a complementary relationship, not one that's oppositional. So let us both get in our roles for the greater good of the family and community.
So we're about to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to deal with the question of, are black women in America more submissive to white men than they are to brothers. 855-878-4652.
You know about that.
Are sisters simply more submissive to white men than they are to their own brothers?
When it comes to me, you get mighty.
We'll be back.
When you get around whitey, you lighty.
We'll be back. So what?
Referring to specifically what we call the feminist elite. And the feminist elite they reside in three areas. Academia, as evidenced by the responses from the article at Boston University last week, and in Hollywood and in the media. And most people, especially young people, are exposed on a routine basis to these women, first in college, then in the media via television, magazines, and in Hollywood. So the messages that they're getting are consistently coming from this one place. And that message conflicts with what I believe will lead them to a happy place and will go along with the value system that they have for themselves. And they need a voice. And that's really where Flipside comes.
We fully expect that if it comes down to a man and a woman in a burning building and you can only save one, the expectation is that you choose the woman every single time. So honestly, whose humanity are we placing above whose here? We're not talking about going to work. We're not talking about getting an education. We're not talking about having the freedom to decide what you want to be in life. And we're not talking about getting to take Taekwondo. We're talking seats in lifeboats here. The person in the lifeboat is going to survive no matter how capable or incapable they are of managing their own life. And the person going down with the ship is going to die no matter how independent, self-sufficient, and awesome he is. That's the equation. One life more valuable than another. And the woman wins every time.
That we dishonor, betray, and defile one another. Oh, this is what I know, that every time I've been in trouble, be it in a relationship, financially, in my own personal unfoldment, it was another woman that stood with me, walked with me, cried with me, sat with me. It would be an affront to my spirit to dishonor another woman by betraying her confidence, sleeping with her man, not honoring my word to her, talking about her. I couldn't do it. Because when my daughter died, it was other women who sat with me. When my husband left, it was other women who sat with me. When I turned over the keys of my house to the bank, rather than let it go in foreclosure, it was other women who rode around with me in my car to find me someplace to live. When I have to pack to travel, it's other women. When I need something done at home and I'm out on the, it's other women. How can I defile other? We are out of order. Sleep with your sister's husband. What? Pluck your eye out right there. We've adopted to a society that doesn't honor us. Just imagine women, the first job of women of color in this country were to be someone's workhorse and their sexual slave. And we've adopted to those ways without doing the investigation of our
Fire!
Wow.
Who want to talk about it? 855-878-4652. Are black women only submissive to white men? Are they more submissive to white men? Or, as my man on Twitter, B. Clef Got Beats, said, I believe women are submissive to power. In our framework of white supremacy, American women are set up to follow the propaganda.
Youch.
So, again, when rapper Eve comes out and says her white billionaire husband tamed her,
he just collected her.
do you see that? He tamed me is what she said. What message is being sent about submission, about security?
She gets to watch the struggle.
About white supremacy?
She gets to watch the struggle from the skybox.
Wow.
That's
this is big. Bobby G, you got something to speak on that?
I'm still trying to sort out a couple of those videos, and quickly I'll give you my opinion of the difference between submission. That's a word that can lead to disaster. because of how it sounds, submit. I don't think it's necessary for anybody to submit to anybody, because what I'm shooting for is a collaboration that works. Because there are situations where women can direct me because of their sensibilities. And then in other situations, I should be the one calling the shot.
Absolutely.
Wow. Good stuff. Geoff?
Like I've said before, my wife's word is first. My word is final. Because there got to be a boss. Somebody got to be, my wife is the peacemaker. I'm the peacekeeper. Okay? I tell my kids this all the time, you really, really want to deal with her. Because if it get to me, it's going to be some ass between my fingers. It's going to be, I'm not going to do like her. I'm not making no cookies. You're going to wind up standing in that corner on 1 foot holding books, fucking around with me.
So let's really put this in context. I always say, when you're not a part of any narrative that you believe in, you set yourself up for manipulation. Right? You're not a part of the Christian narrative, right? But you believe in it, and you've been manipulated by it.
Right.
So how do you enforce your independence as a woman when you claim allegiance to a belief system that within its codex submits you?
Here's how. By using the Bible like a menu. Like most Christians. Most black Christians use the Bible like a menu. Welcome to Jesus World. May I help you? Yeah, let me get the speaking in tongues, cast out demons package. I'm sorry, that comes with a side order of submission. No, I don't need that. I want to be able to fuck who I want. I want to be able to talk to my man worse than I do the bishop.
But no, interestingly speaking, in the book of Genesis, submission is given to woman as a punishment.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't read it from the original Aramaic Hebrew, right? They read it from an English perspective. Hold on. And they have no understanding of what's being said in that book. First and foremost, you go back to Genesis chapter 2, verse 17. God says, don't fuck with the tree, or in that day you'll die. Right? You'll die if you mess with the tree.
Adam was cool.
In the day, first off, Adam is both their names. That's what they don't.
Wow.
That's what they don't understand. They don't understand. Adam is both their names. It means Adama, of the ground, earthlings. Look it up. They were both of the ground. Adam is their name. When you start breaking down the original names of them, Genesis 5:3, it'll tell you. Adam's original name, Zakar, right? Means remember. Just remember not to fuck with the tree. That's all you got to worry about. Right? Eve's original name is Nekeba, Genesis 5:2. Right? Let me let me set it up. Nekeba. And what they do when they translate this shit, they try to marginalize the woman in the translation. Oh, Nekeba means hole, gash, opening, sheath. They're just basically saying pussy. Right. That's what this name means. But at the very end of the name Nekeba, look it up. Appoint. You don't appoint nothing but leaders. So Eve was the damn leader of the garden. That's why when God punishes her in Genesis 3,
I'm gonna put you under this fool.
You are submissive to him. It's part of her punishment. This nigga, the rememberer, that was his only job. Do you understand? So, with that said, by the way, in Genesis chapter 3, the devil lies and God tells the truth. And the devil is right or wrong for lying, and God is right. Or the devil is wrong for telling the truth, and God is right for lying to his kids. Well, most people don't look at the scripture that way. Eve was in control. A lot of people don't want to see it that way, but that's what it is.
I don't have a problem with that. My issue is, and this is, there are two big lessons I've always taken from Adam and Eve. One, what did God give to Adam before he gave Adam Eve? Everything. He gave him everything. Gave him dominion over every animal. All that. If you don't have dominion over everything in your life, you ain't ready for no woman. You need to be the dominion over your animal of lust, over your animal of finance. You need to have all them animals in line. Two,
what he gave to them. Because remember, Adam is both of them.
Okay, both of them. B-O-F-U-B-M. Okay. The other thing that I take from that is Adam didn't know. Eve went over and go, here, bite this apple. Adam like, all right, it's an apple. He didn't know. He just knew good and hell well it wasn't from that tree because he wasn't fucking with it. God had already said don't fuck with that tree, so I just have assumed that your ass ain't fucking with this tree. I don't ever get to take a woman's word at face value. I never do. Okay, let's look at this here. Let's gotta look at this here.
I gotta interrupt.
Dr. G.
And I want Angela weigh in this. Can you ever question another person when you truly don't understand what they're saying? Because it seems like anytime you question anyone with a head of steam, you're not clarifying confusion, you're resisting, you're being difficult, you're being defiant. But is there a place in relationships to be able to pause and just saying, I don't get where you're coming from, can you explain it? Because it seems like there's not room for that in relationships anymore.
Wow, good stuff. Angela?
I say certainly. There's a big difference between a disagreement and an argument.
Absolutely.
You can absolutely ask for explanation, clarification as part of having a conversation. I see nothing wrong with that, and I see nothing wrong with disagreements. They're going to happen. The toxic thing is when it actually disintegrates into an argument where no longer are you trying to find a solution that benefits you as a whole, but instead you're just trying to figure out who's right or who's going to win this argument. Not even necessarily who's right, but who's going to win this argument. That's where the problem comes in.
Start looking for where to stick the knife.
Right. And she's saying something that's really, really poignant. Rightaholics and rightalisms contaminate relationships at a core level, because ultimately what keeps relationships running like a fine-tuned instrument is alignment, the pursuit of alignment. And most people would rather be right than be aligned, right?
And outside of you, and a standard that is outside of you.
Right.
We have to line ourselves up because we're imperfect humans.
When we come back, we got to take a quick break, Jeff. When we come back, we're coming back to Nityama, because Nityama needs to help us understand how a woman can gain power and strength from receptivity. I mean, how does she control the relationship? How does she uplift the relationship through being receptive? When we come back, my brother Nityama is going to open that can of worms. We'll be back at 2.2 Zo Up Mornings. Holla!
And chivalry is male disposability. And really, I mean, what's the equivalent for women? Where's their sense of protection for men? There is none. And they have Big Daddy government to look out for them. So the message loud and clear for women is that they're prized and men are expendable. And in today's society, there's no logical basis for that belief. The chivalry is a man on a string, with women in the government as the puppet masters. And this persecution, it only increases in severity as it's seen as justified. And by suppressing freedom of expression, the group's rights, they're easily taken away, while the majority of the group have internalized the propaganda and allow this to happen. And in today's society, men, they've been reduced to a thing, to a statistic, a worker drone. In the family unit, it's been destroyed by this erosion of male rights. A family is no longer a safe option for men. And men have no value except to the system that persecutes them. And when a group has been robbed of an identity and is now defined in a dehumanized light, and that group is separated from society in terms of moral value, then any action against that group is seen as justified.
I'm going to keep challenging you. I'm going to keep pushing you. The Zo Up Morning Show back in the building. Again, tweet me on Twitter. I will read your responses at Zoe Williams. Nityama, we want to talk about it, man. We want to talk about the power a woman can gain by being receptive in relationship. Is there power in being receptive or submissive in relationship with her man? Can you speak to that? Do we have Nityama? Is he there? Okay, so we'll wait to get Nityama back, but I'm going to go to...
I'm on.
You on. Good. Okay, so before we went to break, we talked about the power inherent in a woman being receptive and submissive to her man. Can you speak to that power? What does that power do for the relationship when a woman is receptive and submissive to her man? And how can she even govern and control the relationship from a space of receptivity as opposed to a space of, combativeness? Can you talk to that?
Yeah, first of all, one thing has to be understood is that we're all under the guidance and direction of the higher forces that are governing the universe. So first, I as a man, I need to be looking to something that's higher than me, rather than me just counting up on my ego, my mind, and so forth, to be a director for my life. So if I'm out of control myself, then she has nothing to look up to and follow.
Wow.
So the first thing that has to be there is that I have to have surrendered and become submissive to the higher forces. Then she can trust her submitting to me.
So you have
if I've got alcohol, drugs, and everything else as my God, then she needs to run from me.
So you telling me the man has to be God-centered in order for the woman to be submissive and or receptive?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Wow. Otherwise, she's taking in garbage. And she's going to give birth to garbage.
Wow.
So first, she needs to make sure that she's even choosing a man of substance to even be with in the first place.
And Nityama, how does she do that? How does she choose a man of substance? And then I'm gonna go over to Angela real quick to answer that.
She uses her intelligence rather than using all of the feedback that she gets from other women that have no idea what is going on themselves. See, if women can be very powerful in supporting what's truth, but they can also be very powerful in promoting a fire sale at Macy's.
Nityama, Angela talked about a receptive woman last week. Can you talk about what a man of substance looks like so women can recognize one when they see it?
But we got to ask Angela that too.
If you sit down to talk to a man and the quality of the communication coming out of his mouth, if nothing in your gut rings as true for the woman, if nothing in her gut can bear witness to what's coming out of his mouth, and if it is capable of bearing witness to what's coming out of his mouth, she will know because she will get aroused. In other words, it is arousing for a man to have a conversation with a woman when he is coming from a place of higher consciousness.
Wow.
She is geared for that. She is set up for that. She is primed for that.
Wow. That is big. Angela, I need you to jump in. We need to know some of these questions that were asked, they must be answered by a woman. Please talk to us about what Nityama is saying. Is he right when you speak to a God-realized man that it arouses your intuitive process? It rings true what he's saying to you from an internal aspect. Is that true? Can you speak to that?
That's true when you are talking to your compliment. That's one of the ways you recognize your compliment because you are on the same level. And it shows when they talk, you're connecting. That's definitely a way to recognize your compliment. You want to look for somebody that balances you out, not necessarily for somebody that makes up for all your shortcomings, but somebody that balances you. I'm very hot-tempered. My husband is more mellow. We balance each other because there are times when maybe he shouldn't be so mellow and I can step in. There's times when I need to calm down. He can step in and do that. So it's a balance. And when you talk to that person who has the same beliefs as you, the same foundation as you, and also gives you that balance, you'll definitely know. You'll feel it.
So, Bobby G, I need some old down south, muddy waters blues. Talk to me about submission and what it used to be like, you know, pre-civil rights, and how the family was set up and the man was the leader, and how now all of these different ideas and concepts have kind of fragmented our community. What does the relationships of today look like versus the way they were back in the day?
It's incomparable. But everything that has happened hasn't always been positive, because submission is unsustainable. I mean, if you're ruling by force, then the minute you take the power away, then you got chaos. What's different now than in my era, so to speak, is that men had the opportunity to teach as well as lead. And as a result, children were given an opportunity to be exposed to men of principle, because you stayed in a community where men would not allow chaos to prevail for very long.
Bobby, what's the difference between a man of principle and a man of substance?
A man of principle is governed by his beliefs. A man of substance, to me, is someone who has accomplishment, but it doesn't necessarily, transform into something that he passes on.
One you can be without the other.
Damn.
One you can.
So who's more
Well,
attractive?
there's a difference between.
Go ahead, Nityama, come on in.
There's a difference between sustenance and substance. The word I used was substance. It had nothing to do with material accumulation. It had to do with internal fortitude and being based upon something that has spiritual grounding. So they're basically the same from where I was looking at it from. They're almost interchangeable. But a man of sustenance is a man that has acquired things. He knows how to go to work hard, so forth and so on. That's a whole different animal.
Where does this fit in? There's a saying, someone who doesn't stand for anything will fall for anything. And how much of what we're talking about is really finding out and gathering what a man stands for, what he'll stand up for, what he'll stand up against.
But Dr. G, let me answer that.
Yeah.
You can't stand for any concept or idea if it is not rooted in spiritual knowing. You can't. If that idea is not backed by the truth that is beyond our control but is always in our face, right? If it's not backed by that, the standard is hollow.
I got to disagree with that, brother.
Listen, if you have a belief that hasn't been vetted by the universal truth of what is, that truth is hollow.
Absolutely. But what you, okay, here's what
universal truth is different than spirituality.
That's the same thing.
Go ahead.
Here's what I actually disagreed with. Is you said that you cannot stand for principles like that.
You can.
You absolutely can. You just ain't standing on shit.
We saying the same thing. We saying the same thing, goddammit, Jeff.
Because no, cats do it all the time. Cats do it all the time. That nigga stepped on my foot. I'm gonna blow his brains out. You can stand for that.
But look what we do in our community, though, Jeff. Look what we do in our community right now, because this is a show we're about to do in a couple of weeks called the Hotep Nigga. Our community values what you've accumulated over, and I'm talking about externally, what you've accumulated externally over what you've accumulated internally.
Yes, sir.
So now the conscious movement, or somebody who's conscious and aware, is seen as like a weirdo and somebody that's off the grid and he's marginalized. A God-realized man doesn't have the same value as a material man, a man who is industrious, a man who has power from society. He could be devoid of spiritual knowledge, but if he can pay all your bills off, he's the catch. Am I lying?
That only becomes true the moment that the average woman in this day and time only wants a man for two things: security and children.
Here we go. Here we go.
She's going to have a much deeper thing that she's aspiring to than just security and children. First of all, if she's only has those two things, she doesn't have anything to give to children. So just having a child so that you got somebody that you can claim you own, it's mine. See, this whole thing of my in the community, we have to give that one up. Because the truth of the matter is nobody belongs to you, not even your child. Wow. You don't own them, they just come through you. Hopefully you have enough intelligence to create an environment that will foster them being able to come into the community when they become of age with deep intelligence of how to even be in that community.
Wow, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, Angela Freeman, Geoff Brown, Dr. Mark Goulston, Bobby Glanton-Nityama, we're going to ask the question, what role does sex play in creating receptivity? Man, this is crazy. We'll be back at 2.2. So What Mornings, hot show!
Wow, I'm torn. I really want to do this thing on Marshawn in the Super Bowl, which the doc is tearing at me, but you guys are not going to allow me to say all this shit during the show. So we're going to have to do that another time. You have to have, or what I have found works for me, is in a man-woman relationship, you have to have something outside of yourself to align yourself to, a standard, if you will. The standard just can't come from the dude, because the dude is a human. And you submitting to some substandard shit, if that's what his programming is. You have to have a particular goal and a particular set of principles that outline that goal so that you can help one another stay on this particular line. If that's not what you're doing, then this is where you get the backlash from women with submission, not to mention that I don't think on a DNA level, black women have forgiven us for what happened during slavery and our inability to protect them. Oh. So I think they have 400 years of fistball up, and they got to unball their fist. The other thing is compliment. I heard this word bounced around. I need a man who compliments me. Well, horrible people compliment one another. That's why, ladies, if you can say why these horrible dudes keep showing up, they're showing up to you like a beacon through the horrible shit that you haven't gotten rid of. There's some horrible shit in your soul that is a lighthouse to them, and they're drawn to it. Oh, that's hilarious. There needs to be some checks and balances on what makes you you and the shit that's important to you. That's the problem. You're not checking what's important to you and why. Know this, that every man wants to fill a woman's head with something. Something. You got to ask yourself, what does he want to fill it with? And his preferred drill of choice is his dick. That's why he talks to you, to get you close enough so he can use his real tool to dig in your head and then fill it with whatever he wants. This is why guys with small dicks don't get much respect, because they can't really dig that far. They can't drill that far. That's why dudes with big dicks are running women insane, because they have bullshit that they're going to fill your head with, but it doesn't matter, because they drill so goddamn deep that when they start putting that shit in there, it takes you forever to get it out, Geoff.
Wow, wow, Jesus Christ, Geoff. Okay. How can a woman with no substance attract a man with substance? You can only attract a person that reflects who you really are, true or false. Man, before we left, we asked the question, what role does sex play in creating receptivity? This is a heavy, heavy show, man.
I think I just covered that with the whole dick drill head. analogy.
Yeah. I don't know if you covered it all, but it was shit. Angela, I hate to bring you in on the heels of such debauchery, but I will. We want to talk about intimacy and intimacy building as a way of building receptivity in the woman and in the man. How is that possible? What ways can we do that? And after you answer this question, we also want you to tell people where they can find you, because we have to wrap you after this segment. So please tell us how intimacy can build receptivity in the woman and in the relationship and in the man. Let's talk about it.
Okay, I think it depends on what kind of woman and man you're talking about, because a lot of times we generalize, and that's not always the best thing to do in our community. If you have a centered woman who is very grounded, somewhat conscious, and I mean truly conscious, not pseudo-conscious. You know, the act of sex is something that bonds you to your man. There's actually a power exchange that happens. Before you engage in sex with a man, you kind of have the upper hand because the man's trying to figure out, what can I do to get this woman? Once you give in sexually to a man, there's a little shift in power, and that does make you more likely to be submissive, or I don't even like to use the term submissive. I just say cooperative, because I think that's really the goal.
Why? We have to stop you now. Why?
What's wrong with submissive?
What's wrong with submissive?
I don't have a problem with the word submissive, but I find that it's problematic when you use that word in talking to a lot of women. That automatically makes them jump back and say, no, I want no parts of that. But if you say, being cooperative, it's a lot better. Lot better response.
So you're just talking about
you're going to get that. But if you have a woman with a Negro mind, then sex a lot of times is not going to play a part, because she'll submit to you in the bedroom all day long, but as soon as that door opens, it's a wrap. She's going to still do what she's doing.
You know, you got to say more about the woman with the Negro mind. What is that? Say more.
Yeah, because
you know, that woman is just not balanced, not in touch with herself, because of a lot of things. We are all suffering from different degrees of insanity, being raised under racism, white supremacy. It's just, what degree are you suffering from?
Wow.
Nobody's free from it. But you have a woman who, you know, may have grown up without a father, knows nothing about manhood or what a man should be, may have been molested a few times and grew up and then been raped a few times, never really had a chance to know herself, know the beauty of herself, or learn to respect masculinity. That woman is not going to be receptive. It's going to take a lot of internal work and introspection for that woman to be able to reach that point. And at that point, she'd be more centered.
Okay.
But the average...
So really quickly, tell us where people can find you. And then Geoff Brown has a response to what you said. But we want people to be able to go to you right now, purchase your book, support your movement. And if we're following each other on Twitter, please tweet me your link and I'll retweet it to my people as well, so they can support your books and everything that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My website is author.angelafreeman.com. I have quite a few books there, from my first book, which was God's Gift, How to Be a Good Black Woman to a Strong Black Man, to several children's books, specifically for black children.
Wow, wow. Geoff Brown, your response?
I like what you say about the Negro mind. I just think it needs to have another title. I think African American mind works a lot better, because all of my heroes are Negroes. It's the African Americans that fucked up all my experiences. I go down the list. Martin Luther King, Negro. Al Sharpton, African American.
Wow.
Wow. Chuck D, Negro. Suge Knight, African American. See. So the African American mind, I think, this whole, again, the way the black family was just turned upside down, inside out, and disemboweled with your pick, civil rights, integration, blah, 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 I think has led to this mind you talk about that basically ignores her intuition and turns up social white noise. Ooh, he riding on 26s, that kind of shit.
Social white noise, love it. Angela Freeman, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. And everybody, cash mob her. Go get her books. Go support her movement. Absolutely. We appreciate her for being on. Now, let me get over to Nityama. Very important. Nityama, can we talk about this big thing about white supremacy and all of that stuff, and how it's made our sister insane? Yeah. There's like a level of insanity, a spiritual insanity, that prevents her from reaching a sexual orgasmic height, that prevents her from reaching an intimate height, a relationship developmental height. Talk to us about the insanity that is pervading our relationships in this particular social construct.
Well, first of all, there are many factors involved. And so basically what you're talking about is how the black psyche has been impacted by living in an environment that is based on nothing but lies.
Wow.
The whole thing is based on lies. So how does the woman, if she takes in all these mismatched lies at an early age, she is bound to be thoroughly convoluted and confused by the time she becomes an adult. There's no way for you to get sanity out of that. So now one of the things that is very important that I always interact, when I'm interacting with a woman, there are many forms of spiritual divination that you can have in your life. So I never have arguments with women.
There you go.
They come to me, they say whatever they say. In most instances, I tell them, go check in, go divine on the situation before you even bring it to me. I refrain from taking up my time and my energy with things that you have in no way checked out. I don't want you coming to me, tying me up for 2 or 3 hours talking about something only for me to sit you down and get you to divine and you realize the whole thing was a waste of time because you were completely off.
Wow. Nishama, can you talk about, I think it's what you talk about divining things, but how do you help someone to know their own mind? I know that seems obvious, but a lot of people...
Well, most people don't have a mind that is their own. They only have what they have had poured into them outside. And there's no way for you to know that because it in no way belongs to you.
Wow.
It in no way belongs to you.
Not until you examine the jar. You got to examine that jar and what it's full of. That's so true.
But see, that's why we go back and say, if you don't question what you know to be true, you are a functioning social robot.
A drone.
A drone. That's all they are.
Well, I think you've got to go deeper. And this is the whole difficulty that's going on between men and women. Is the fact that neither one of them are going that deep these days.
Wow. So
the man is not going very deep, and neither is the woman.
Wow. So listen, we got to do this really quickly.
The woman's never going to go deep if the man doesn't go deep.
That's a good point. We got to do this really quickly, Nityama. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Veronica Conway is going to join the conversation with us, and Bobby is going to come back at the top of the next break. Very important stuff.
The other way, the third way that women often emasculate men is to let them know they're really not necessary, that you're a better man than they are. Men ask me sometimes, why do they even want us in our lives? They don't seem to need us. They don't seem to care about what we bring to the relationship. So think about this. What is it that you wanted when you were looking for a man? Or if you're looking right now, what do you want him to bring to your life that you don't have right now? Don't forget that when you get involved with someone. Those things that only a man can bring to you. And I'm not just talking about sex. There are a lot of other things that make you feel more like a woman, make you feel more feminine, make you feel protected and cared for. That's what men want to do for you. So the goal is to make him feel more like a man, that he's important to you. It doesn't take much. Men are so simple. If you just give him that little bit, he wants to be with a woman who makes him feel like a man. That's it. And everything you do to counter that, everything you do to emasculate him, to castrate him, makes him pull in and just isolate himself if you're committed to each other and kind of stuck. Or if you're dating, he's out the door as quickly as he can be.
What is wrong with y'all? Over a song?
You just did! You just did! What the fuck you talking about? What the fuck you talking about? What the fuck you talking about?
Who the fuck you thinking you is? I wouldn't suck your dick. I would eat a pussy before I suck your small dick, bitch. And I'm not gay.
I gotta blame both those dudes. You know, both those dudes I just saw are horrible.
I'm just saying, we're right now, we're living in an insane time.
Well, I think we're living in a time where men are bad at math.
What do you mean?
I mean that women, and this is again just about black folks. Black women outnumber us 8.5 to 1. 8.5, let that sink in. Any shit that you are taking from a woman, a black woman, black men, ask yourself if the other 7.5, if this is the only shit they have to offer. You're fired. You're fired. There's too many of you. The next 57, 58. That's I'm not putting up with it.
Bobby G.
I was sitting there thinking about all of the powerful women in the modern world. Oprah Winfrey. They had Iyanla Van Zandt. You think about all these powerful women, and they're childless and manless. And I asked myself, why are these exceptional women without men? And my answer to that question is they have absorbed the notion that they really can make it without us, and that's nonsense. We can't make it without them. And nobody is living to their fullest potential if they're not in order.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yo, we got Veronica Conway on the line right now. Veronica, you got to join the big homie. You got to join the big homie, Nityama, on the line right now. Talk to us about what the hell is going on with these women. Speak on it.
I want to frame this whole conversation in the context of co-creation, because yin and yang require each other. So, though you and I co-created this show, right? We decided to design this show, this topic today, as a response, as a solution to the couple of previous shows where it was all buck wild, right? And buck crazy. Right?
You know what's crazy, Veronica? They don't know that this show was birthed out of the Lunel and Hope show. Like, this is an ongoing conversation, and it was designed that way, and Veronica was behind it. She was an architect on this. Speak on it, Veronica.
Right. So just as you know, in that context, we co-created, right? You brought what you brought to the table. I brought what I brought to the table, and that is the natural order of things. We are not independent. We are meant to be interdependent. I want to speak to the difference between submission, which is mechanical and of the mind, and surrender, which is alchemical and is of the soul.
Uh-oh.
So when a man embodies a high enough frequency, he naturally impacts the woman to crave surrender. Now, if we want to go back to what you were talking about in terms of the alchemy of sex, in the alchemy of surrender, if you think about it, the woman becomes the most, when is she in a state of greatest, deepest surrender? When she is in an orgasm.
Well, most women
her deep orgasmicness is if she is experiencing enough of that in relating with her man, then she will carry that the quality, the essence of surrender out into the world, where she can become a positive, receptive force for good.
Veronica, so wait. You said that in the most articulate and refined way. Or just in a basic way, are you saying a woman will do what you want her to do if you just dick her down? Is there a difference between dicking her down and the orgasmic state? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna, because Nityama is the master of the universe on this topic, so I will turn it over to him in a moment. But it goes back to what he said earlier. It's not just dicking her down. It's what level of consciousness are you feeding her with? If you're just getting there, getting off, then she gives birth to that.
Okay, so something is coming. Something is coming now. You're basically saying dicking down is consciousness transference. Regardless of what level of consciousness you're at, there's a transference of consciousness through the process of dicking down.
Whether it's DMX or Deepak Chopra, that's kind of the scale, I would say.
If you want your woman receptive and you want her surrendered, which is the alchemy of sex, not the mechanics of submission. If you want her surrendered, then you must master the art of conscious dicking down. And I will turn it over to Nityama from there.
That's a
he
great
can explain it better than I.
The Conscious Dick Down is my next book.
The Conscious Dick Down.
Go ahead, Nityama. Speak to it, brother.
So here's the deal. Whatever I'm holding in consciousness while I'm having sex with a woman, I'm seeding her with that. She's going to give birth to it shortly. So when I'm being with a woman, I'm always planting in her the higher seeds that I can even conjure in my mind or conceive of. In that way, every time I'm with her, I'm planting an oasis in her that I know that in due time it's going to start sprouting up around her, and she's going to find herself living in a world that I have created inside of her for her to give birth to. And if it's of a higher consciousness, she will be overjoyed the day that she sees the sprouts coming up.
But can the woman even know what your higher consciousness is until the man finishes having sex with her? Because I think when he's in the middle of it, I'm not sure how highly conscious he is.
She's supposed to know that before y'all get started.
Exactly. And not all, and more than that, when a woman is really become very transparent and receptive, she can actually almost start telling you what frequencies and energies are coming out of your penis into her. So she becomes so in tune with you. That's the reason why at a certain point, she can even know what you're getting ready to say before you say it. If you're a very conscious man and you've seated the woman properly, you could be sitting in a chair asleep. She's got her back to you, and the moment you open your eyes, she turns around. Because that's how in tune she is with you on a frequency level. And then she'll turn to you and lift her hand to suggest, do you want water? And you will realize in that moment that you just acknowledged that you were thirsty.
And by the way, and I want to just chime in here that all of this, because energy has no time and space, this also exists at a distance. This does not mean that you have to be in a room with her.
Come on.
You can be half the planet away from her if you are vibrating at this level.
My grandparents used to do that. My grandparents
Most motherfuckers do not recognize that relationship involves two theoretical physicists. Right? The laws of physics are still in play.
The same way you can yawn, like you sitting in your car and you yawn, and the car next to you, the person goes, "How'd you do that shit?" You are connected on that. My grandparents were married 46 years till the day my grandmother died. When they were asleep, if you wanted to wake my grandmother up, touch my grandfather. She'd get right up. She'd get right. It was uncanny how connected they had become. And you can connect yourself to some bullshit. It's a lot of people, they don't understand the power that sex has. You know, think, oh wow, y'all been together so long, y'all done started looking like one another. That's because we keep feeding each other the same DNA. That's Can
I mention some neuroscience to back this all?
Sure. No, you may not. Of course.
Come on. A couple of things go on with women that don't go on with men. One thing is there's a chemical called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone, and it's a big part of a woman's identity. It's because of that bonding hormone that when a kid is screaming, they don't throw the kid out the window because of the bonding hormone. Also inside our brains, we have two hemispheres. We have a left and a right. A right is more emotional, left is more analytical, and there's something connecting them called the corpus callosum. It's a big fiber network, and it is thicker in women than it is in men. So what that means is that women's left and right brains are more connected, which is one of the reasons they don't start wars. Men's thinking and emotions are disconnected, which is actually good for war, because if your best friend gets blown up in front of you, you still got to make sense of it and go back and give information, whereas you can't just sit there and grieve. And women have that ability because of these different hookups inside them, and that's why women can provide a home where men can only provide a house.
Woo! Oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin, not Oxycontin.
Oh, yeah, that's what they sell at the rave parties.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God.
Anyway, sorry for the tangent, guys.
No, that was fantastic.
Listen, we're about to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Veronica, stay on with us. Today's show is powerful, man. Zoe Up Morning Shows is off the meter. We'll be back at 2.2. Holla in a second.
I'm sure you work like this with many women. Yes, and so thousands. And so when they go back to the relationship, what do they generally report back?
Well, see, the beautiful thing, like for instance in your case, you're here with your mate. Yeah. That's the most beautiful way to be here. Yeah. Do you follow me? Yeah. Because he also gets to see. He also gets to make a note to himself of some other ways of playing with being with you. And most of these things you can get him pretty quickly if you are willing to show up and really give some time to it. He'll be amazed at what he's capable of. Let's put it that way. He'll be totally amazed, and you will too. A lot of times a man will actually bring his wife, because he's been with her for years but never really got a chance to really open her to that place. And so he may bring her, and after I've done a session with her, maybe we all three go to dinner, and I communicate with him about what I found in her, about how she moves, and then I communicate it to him so that he can start to adjust how he approaches her. And because of the bond between the two being so great, he's overjoyed to see you enjoying yourself, because a man's greatest joy is to see you having joy. So when he starts to see this level of response from you, and you're just totally then he gets to feel himself more powerful as a man. Did I answer your question? Okay.
So when you're starting with your hand, and you said you're shining, I sort of understand what that means, but could you elaborate on what that feels like, and how is that something that anybody can do, or does it take some practice, some opening up of your own energy?
When I said that I was shining on her, it means that I'm allowing the energy coming out of my body. I'm just kind of like bringing it over her. When I come down like this, I can actually feel where her energy starts. So from that point, I'm sending energy out of my arm and hand so that it's actually interacting with her energy field. So I call it shining because...
Now that's from a DVD that Brother Nityama has available. Nityama, can they get that DVD and see that whole video of you doing energy work on the sister?
Yeah, they can. It's about 2 hours and 48 minutes, something in that neighborhood. So I'm explaining a lot of things on there, and then I do a actual live demonstration that took place in a workshop in Chicago, and this woman volunteered out of the people participating to be a model for the demonstration.
This is
so.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So there's the place to get the DVD is called Tiny, TINY, URL.com/Nityama, which is NITYAMA
Y'all got that?
DVD?
Tiny URL.com/Nityama DVD. Spell Nityama one more time for us, brother.
NITYAMA.
Y'all have to get this DVD. Listen, I bring brothers on like this brother right here, who is an indispensable resource to our community because we need spiritual healing.
Absolutely.
The relationship is everything. This is why I love Krishnamurti. He says life is relationship. Everything is about relatedness. And if you do not understand the purpose of relationship or the functionality of relationship and how it benefits your spiritual growth, then life is affecting you and you're unaware of you as the cause, as the co-creator of what you're experiencing. And that's not a life worth living. That's not a life lived, you see? That's why I bring brothers like Nityama on the show, because we need healing. That's the purpose of it, right? Veronica.
Yeah.
Are you still here with us?
I am here, and here's the thing that I want to really have people get this. I've worked with Nityama, I'm going to say, for about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer everybody I know to him. And what is possible? See, we as black people have been conditioned to prevent us as the natural, orgasmic co-creators that we are. We've been trained out of our nature in this regard. And all I will say to you is that what is available to you when you drop the madness and you embrace the co-creation in the way that it was intended, through energy, through sexual alchemy, through the natural yin and yang of co-creation, we would become an unstoppable force.
So let me ask this. Let me ask, it is very important that we deal with this question before the final thought. The bitterness, the rigid unforgiveness that creates the chronically unreceptive woman. We got to look at, listen, my homeboy Truth, the guy who, I play all of his music all the time. Truth just got custody of his 16-year-old daughter who recently tried to commit suicide for the 3rd time because her mama don't want her. And her mama doesn't want her. Her mama doesn't want her simply because Truth didn't want her mama. And for 16 years, her mother took it out on the kid. I mean, the mother's father slapping the girl in the mouth for calling her dad. The girl done ran away 3 or 4 times because the mother created a wall and a disconnect between the father, right? The father was always there. The father's family is always there, but because the relationship didn't work out. See, this is what I want to talk about. Sometimes that vaulted positionality we put mama in is beyond reproach, and mama is the closest, but mama can also cause the most harm. And because we have this, I need you to speak to this.
Zoe.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody will speak to this, right?
One of the major things that's going on the planet.
So here's the thing.
Is that
wait, 2 people. Hold on.
One at a time.
Hold on. 2 people are talking right now. Nityama, then Veronica. Wrap it up.
So one of the things that has to be understood is that a big portion of what's going on the planet is unhealed mother wounds in the women. See, even a woman can actually destroy her daughter without even being able to realize it, because she never healed her wounds with her mother. And then she actually will masculinize her daughter based on it. So a lot of the masculine principles that we end up seeing in women today didn't come from men. They came from the mothers. So in order for a woman to have a healthy relationship with a man, she's almost got to go back and heal her mother wound.
Damn.
In order to be able to relate to a man at all.
How does a woman go and heal her mother wound? How is that even possible?
First she has to acknowledge that she was mishandled and mistreated and never really actually educated in any useful way.
Ooh.
And feel the wound of that, feel the pain of that, and sit through it, and then turn around and give herself the mothering that she never got.
Wow. And you know what's crazy, though? I gotta say this. You know what's crazy? The daughters always love their paternal gender partner. They love mama. Even if mama wounds them. Poet's other daughter was burned with a cigarette when she was a baby by her mama. And to this day, that daughter will go through hell and high water to make sure mama okay.
Because she's trying to
she feels guilty if she doesn't love her mother.
Damn.
The guilt and the shame will make her continue to be in a very unhealthy relationship with her mother.
Yeah, I work with a lot of suicidal people, and you're just really hitting a nerve that hits them. What I hear from a lot of women is the guilt and shame is the rage under the hurt at having not received the unselfish warmth from their mothers that they need to be a woman. And the unselfish warmth of a woman, the kindness of a man isn't even on the same radar. Women don't get the unselfish, focused warmth. They're not able to warm up from their core.
And they never allow themselves to give that quality to themselves.
You're so
wow. Veronica, wrap it up.
And one more thing, I want to talk about the yang of this, because if a man is carrying enough energetic, spiritual firepower in the head of his penis, in his body, he can enter her and burn off all that psychic oppression and wounding, and all of that can be transmuted and dismantled if he is engaging with her sexually with enough firepower. So our men have to begin to restore their firepower so that they can detoxify their women.
Exactly.
Through the act of loving.
But the firepower has to come from a man feeling like a man, because if that firepower is his way of reacting to not having firepower in the world, the firepower has mixed motives.
Is this Geoff Brown?
Yes.
There has to be some logic pointed at, maybe I got to decide where to shoot my bullets. Is this target worthy? I have said this before. Arguing with a woman for me is the equivalent of carrying a refrigerator down 3 flights of steps by myself. Because I don't want to carry that refrigerator every day does not make me weak. To me, and having y'all...
Listen, Geoff, I was told I was a bitch-ass motherfucker because I wanted to leave when the conversation got stupid and
you just trying to save her life.
That's what Dr. G said.
Now, what I'm saying is I have been in that situation with an ex who was hugely wounded by her mother. And all I can come up with is what an immense waste of my spiritual energy that was.
Listen, sorry to cut you off. We got to take a break. This show is off the charts right now. Zoe Morning Show, you know how we do. Topics to change your life. We'll be back in 2.2. We are a society. Today, man, tough topic, heated topic, but necessary. World War III has begun, and it has been going on for a long time. Some people are expecting this big build up of troops. But the real World War III started many, many, many years ago when they started controlling the narrative that they put out about you through the media. Before I physically kick your ass, I'm going to mentally rape you first. So it'll be an easier fight when it's time to get physical. You understand? So World War III started a long time ago when they started to control how we view each other. And I've told people, respect as a religion should have a stronger foothold in our community than does Christianity, Islam, and all the other religious beliefs and things that we want to empower. What if we empowered respect as dogmatically as we do evangelism or prosperity teachings? What if respect for other brothers and sisters was as dogmatically ingrained in us as a people as our belief in Jesus Christ? I believe things would be different. But because, in my opinion, our ultimate hope and desire is to find a plateau within the system of white supremacy that says you've made it, right? When that becomes the ultimate, kind of aspiration, we then leave our community behind. We leave what I call the spiritual markaba, or the spiritual vehicle that relationship is. We leave those spiritual understandings alone. And like I said, sisters, they're so powerful. But when you choose your relationship based off of what a brother has over what you can learn from him, you've handicapped yourself, right? The relationship is designed to show you what you need to work on. Whatever trigger you're getting back from a person, that is a piece of curriculum that you need to better yourself. Self-knowledge comes from the crucible of relationship. Every relationship is an ordeal for a reason. So for me, I look at our people and I'm just overwhelmed by the level of work we have to do. Like I said in shows past, I said, we are a people who thrive within a coping mechanism, right? We thrive in a coping mechanism. We choose social security over spiritual and personal growth, right? Social security just means, shit, I got to get mine by any means necessary. That's your problem, right? And everything about our existence is a coping mechanism. When I see a Christian sister with a blonde weave, I go, damn, there's the coping mechanism. No diss to Christianity, but I'm looking at your social programming. If Christianity is to your brain as Microsoft Office is to my computer, I'm going, damn, she has old software, a 2,000-year-old software making decisions for her relationship. But then I look at it and go, damn, look, not only is Christianity there, but a conflict of interest is there too. Feminism. Not only is feminism running, but so is Big Mama and transgenerational hurts. And I'm looking at the brothers the same way. I'm looking at Stephen A. Smith saying, I would fine Marshawn Lynch $20,000 a day until he talked to the media because that's part of his job. First off, the Super Bowl is the biggest distraction every year from what's really going on in the world. That's why everything about it is manicured and prepared in such a way that they get their biggest messages out during that time. The damn commercial, 30-second commercials cost $4.5 million this year. And if you weren't paying attention, you had feminism and, we got to balance feminism with fatherhood. All of that was in play. They know your school is their media. Your university is the media. They know that. And our people get affected by it the worst, the most. We're living in a coping mechanism. Mama, I made it is a coping mechanism, which says I can leave the community now and live amongst those who hate me. This is why I said, listen, black people ain't no different than homosexuals. Homosexuals can read the Bible and see in the Bible where God says you're an abomination. Do I believe that or not? No, I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm just saying the homosexuals will still fight to be a part of Christianity. Just like black people will still fight to be a part of a racist society via diversity. Through diversity. There needs to be black people winning Oscars. What? There needs to be black people on the board of whoever. Why? You empower the racist system by saying, make a space for me. Acknowledge my existence within it. And look how that trickle-down theory has contaminated and poisoned our relationships. Women look at men based off of what they can provide for them, even though women are more educated, even though women are more employed. Does that not manifest itself as some type of contradiction in terms of what you want? It's a painful situation. But I love you dearly, and I'm going to keep doing shows like this to show my commitment to staying, to working it out. I appreciate everybody for it, and that's my final thought. So what mornings? Let's do it this way. Nityama, tell us again where everybody can find your works and everything that you're trying to do. Please tell us where we can find you. Go support Nityama.
tinyurl.com/Nityama DVD.
Wow. And I'm going to tell you right now, sisters, this brother is a bona fide, 100% authentically true.
The genuine article.
Healer, energetic healer. I done met like 8, 9 different women that have crossed his path organically. My photographer. Oh, you know Nityama? Yes, he healed me, and through Skype. Through Skype? What do you mean? I had an orgasm for 4 hours after talking to him, and energetically, I felt electricity coming out of my head. Veronica, she's another one. I met all of these women organically, and they all know him. Get your womb healed. Go find this dude.
I need to come for 4 hours, DVD.
I'm just telling you, go get your womb healed.
It's a DVD? Make a woman come for 4 hours?
Veronica Conway.
Where you get that DVD?
Stop it, Jeff. Where can they find you, honey?
So Veronica at veronicaconway.com. If you want to come make some real money this month and quit playing around, email Business Bootcamp in the subject line to Veronica at veronicaconway.com, and we'll get on the phone and talk about it, making this money.
Wow. Bobby G?
I also have a website, and it's www.nityama.com/blog.
There you go.
And there's a lot of interviews and different stuff on the website, but the place to get the DVD is the earlier URL, tinyurl.com/Nityama DVD.
Perfect. Bobby G?
Get a copy of Real Men Don't Play, and what you will find out, amongst many other things, is why Bill Belichick has invested more money in the savior of our children than Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson put together.
Damn. Here we go. Dr. G?
Yeah, just Google me under Mark Goulston, but I want to tell any white listeners that what Nityama and Veronica Conway, it's not just for black people. It is it's common sense spirituality, and I don't mean common sense in a bad way. I mean it's understandable.
Wow. Jeff?
Talking to black people, can't
Jeff?
Go to @GBFunnyStyle is my Twitter. My ringtones are up. Go get them. I am going to get that How to Make a Woman Come for 4 Hours DVD.
No, that's a real situation. It's a real situation.
Real. I know it's real. I'm getting it. I'm going there. Go there. Go to this website.
And then I would say, come or get at me, zowhatorders@gmail.com for your free 90-minute coaching consultation strategy session. Please do it now. orders@gmail.com. I really need you guys to support my movement because this is how I stay afloat. Go to cdbaby.com, order my God Class CD, The Street Scholar, God Class, Volume 1. Please support that movement. And like I said, schedule a strategy session with me. Go to Elephant Clothing Line. Please go cash mob these brothers. ElephantNYC.com. Support these brothers. I'm wearing their gear today. Very nice stuff. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Angela Freeman, Veronica Conway, Nityama, Jeff, Mark, Bobby. Yo, this is how we do Zoe What Mornings Crazy Show. We'll see you next week with another burner.
Thank you, Zoe.
Yes, sir, brother.